Hello, welcome to another podcast of Master Investor. Glad to be here again on another valuable talk on money, business, and investment. My name is Jose. I'm the founder of the company and brand. Welcome back if you're an existing subscriber, and if you're new, make sure to follow us here and all other social media platforms. Our mission is to elevate the financial well-being of humanity through high-quality financial education. Made simple, we're looking for opportunities to build passive income and true wealth. Today, we're going to be talking about cracking the code of wealth, financial mastery in the digital age. It's about understanding what is going on with the currency, with money, how wealthy people are creating wealth, because everything is changing and we have to evolve. We have to get to the information that is going to take us to riches, right? And it's all about having an investment plan. So if you are someone that is looking to create more money, have more freedom, then this is a place for you. This is a community where you're going to learn how to be a true leader, wealthy entrepreneur, and a master investor. We're going to talk about the values, the core principles of a businessman or a businesswoman. Entrepreneurship is a great journey. It's something that we all have in us. It's something that I believe we can all win of an entrepreneurship spirit that we all have inside of us. It's all about bringing that investor to become a master investor, because we have to deal with money for the rest of our lives. So the best thing that we can do is to master money, make money our slave by understanding how to create wealth, use the new rules of money. We have 3 ebooks right now. Click the link in the description to access one of our digital courses, How to Build Cash Flow with the Internet, Turn Passive Income On. That ebook comes with 49 chapters, 580 pages of financial literacy. If you're serious about creating wealth, this ebook will give you the principles, the history of money, the difference between an asset and liability, what is wealth, how to create a cash flow system online that builds passive income even while we're sleeping, doing the selling and selling for us on autopilot, selling other people's products, how to do upsells, how to expand on our asset column by diversifying in different asset classes. You're going to learn about the velocity of cash flow, the cash flow triangle, the cash flow circle, the different categories of investors, the different levels of investors, what is a master investor, and how to have the 3 E's of a master investor, which are financial education, financial experience, and excess of cash flow. It's going to literally take you from A to Z, and you can launch your first digital business with this ebook as well. It has the total guide, step by step, on showing anyone how to do this, regardless of your background experience on what industry or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. And if you have an existing business and you're already a wealthy entrepreneur, then this ebook is also for you. The course is also for you. We have additional assets that comes with the digital course. You can also find it on Amazon, all of our books, but when you get them from our website, it's better because you have access to other assets that we add into each ebook, because each book that we have written has turned into a digital course that is vivid, because we are updating it as we move along. If we find a new tool, if we learn something new about that certain topic, we're going to add it. And also we are going to be doing exclusive interviews with wealthy entrepreneurs, celebrities, new entrepreneurs, and anybody that has something of value to give regarding that topic of that book, to emphasize more on it. Then we're going to be adding it. When you get in today, you will be grandfathered in. For any other asset that we add in the future, you will be grandfathered in to have that for free. In other words, you have always 100% access to any asset that we add in there at no cost. You have no reason to, you have no reason to turn down the offer, because it's something that is going to go up in value, something that is great for you. Is financial education, and we have money back guarantee. So if you don't like it, 30 days I think is our money back guarantee. We'll give you the money back. So make sure you check out our products and services. I believe that is something that you're going to find very useful. It is literally broken down in a way that anyone can understand it. It's very simple, and you can pass this down to your kids if you have kids. you can give them a copy of the book, okay, whenever they're ready to start reading, right? It's always good to talk about money with your family members, because one thing that breaks partners is lack of money. One works for money at a place, the other one's working at a different job, and what happens is that they grow apart. They have something that it doesn't work in a relationship, which is lack of money. And money means just about everything. It answers all things, right, in this life. So the best thing that a partner can do, right, if you live with somebody, if you have a family or kids, you want to be talking about money, because number one, the ultra wealthy, that's what they do. They talk to their kids about money while they're eating dinner, how to build wealth. They don't send their kids to college to get a job. The only reason a wealthy person will send a kid to school is because the connections that we can get from being at the right place at the right time. Because some of those people will become influencers in the real world. And influencers, I mean people maybe in positions in the government and so forth. So, the saying that it's not about what you know, but who you know. But I'd say even better is who you know and what you know. It's a little bit of both. That's why self-improvement, self-development, and working on ourselves on a daily basis is a must, because that gives us an unfair advantage. Because once we get put in the right place and we are the right person with the right mindset, then we have all the wins. We have, everything that everybody's looking for. So now we are something that is in high demand, and there's not enough supply of people like that. So we have to build these characteristics, because the more valuable we become, the better we get rewarded from the marketplace. It's just how it is. So one thing we want to do every day is to have a plan of action of the next 24 hours regarding our financial growth. Okay, we're going to read about finances. We're going to take action today. We're going to create our first sales funnels. We're going to invest in our first digital asset. I'm going to contact this freelancer to help me write my book about, if you like cooking, if you like exercises, if you like ice skating, if you like any export, right? If you're passionate about a certain topic, you can write an ebook about that. You can pay somebody to do that for you. And you can, kind of get the entire draft, and you can just, once you have it, then you can just do the cosmetic, pay somebody to do the design, the cover, the back page, and that's it. And we upload it into Amazon, and it gets delivered to thousands and millions of customers, right? We have to take advantage of other people's networks. It's all about using OPM, other people's money, right? Using the bank's money, using debt. Why? Because money is created with debt. Today, debt is tax-free, meaning that if the government can print money, then we can also print money. We have to take advantage of inflation and hyperinflation. And people worry about inflation. I say, why are you worrying about inflation? Only people that lack financial education worry about inflation. Why? Because we need to tap into what is called the new rules of money. So we have 3 ebooks right now, the 10 new rules of money, how to build cash flow with the internet, turn passive income on, and how to invest in crypto to build wealth, understand the Bitcoin and blockchain. Today, crypto is not just an asset and an asset class to invest for capital gains income. Today, crypto is a currency and is recognized by governments around the world as a currency. It's also recognized as a form of payment, right, for businesses and even between each other. So now we can use crypto as a form of money to buy assets, to buy things that we want, and we can use those gains immediately. So understanding how to invest in crypto, I think, is a great idea, don't you think? So get our ebooks. We have them available on Amazon. When you get them on our website, it's better because you have the ebook, plus you have assets, and then you have future assets that will be rebuilt as we move forward, and you will never have to pay another dime in that specific digital course, which you are part of. And what we're going to be doing in the future is that each digital course will have a special event that will be only for our members. So the way you get into the event is by proving that you are part of that course. So just have it, even if you got in, let's say today, and 5 years from now we do an event, right? It's going to be our 5th year anniversary for the event or whatever, and it's maybe in a, in a special place, and it's in a really high-end place with top-end people. Then even if you got in at this price today, then you will always be grandfathered in. So it's just a great face card that you can use, and it has a lot of value. Everything that we do here is to empower our community. We care about our community. So like I said earlier, we're never going to sell you investments or tell you where to invest your money. That's up to each member of our community to decide, to take power over our finances, right? We decide because you are an investor, I'm an investor. We're all building our wealth. We're all sharing our information and how we're using the tools and resources, but we don't tell each other where we invest or how to invest, because everybody's wealth number is different. Everybody's lifestyle is different. Everybody's needs and passions and characteristics are different. We have to build our wealth catered to our personality and who we are, what we're all about, what type of impact we want to have in the world. That's why all of these questions are important, and we will cover them over and over again throughout our live streams and products, because we cannot stress enough the importance of the principles that we talk about on a day-to-day here at Master Investor, right? These principles of wealth that are not spoken among schools. One of the main problems in the world is lack of financial education. That's why we set out to solve here at Master Investor. Master Investor is more than an investment management company. We are the authentic brand of money, business, and investing. So let's dive into today's talk. If you'd like to have this specific article, you can subscribe to our newsletter, and we will send you the article via email. Summary: professional investors would like us not to know their wealth secrets. It is time to make wise investments because inflation is rising. So like I said, inflation should be a tool for us, right, to get wealthy, not to get afraid. So we need to just make wise investments using inflation, because that means that the dollar is losing value. Why? Because the government prints more money. And this happens after 1971, August 15, when President Nixon separated the gold standard from the US dollar. From that point forward, money became monopoly money, fiat money, fake money, an idea backed up by confidence, a currency. And we need to understand that, and we need to play with the new rules of money, because from that point forward, money is dead. In 1974, the petrodollar agreement was signed between Saudi Arabia and the United States, which basically replaced the gold, right? To give that dollar the confidence back that it needed in order to become the number one currency in the world. Basically, the Saudi Arabia agreement stated that the United States will give financial aid, financial help in the infrastructure of Saudi Arabia, and also military aid, in exchange for the condition that every country around the world that buys oil will have to first exchange their currency into dollars and then buy the oil with dollars. And that is the reason why that agreement was signed, to give the dollar back its power, because it's losing value, okay? And now that agreement is being broken, because if you don't know, Saudi Arabia is accepting other people's currencies without them first exchanging them that into dollars. They're basically breaking that agreement, which is a big deal. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but we just need to understand what is going on and use everything into our advantage. If the government prints money, we can print money. That's how the government works today. That's why we over $17 trillion in debt, and it continues to rise. And the more and the more money gets printed, the dollar loses its value. So how does dollar maintains its value is by moving it from asset to asset. When we have money in our hands or in the bank or safe under our mattress, it loses value, goes back to its intrinsic value, which is zero. So I want you to understand that in order for us to become wealthy, we need to move our capital from asset to asset. When we have money, and even before we get any type of money, we have to have a plan for each dollar and understand how that money is going to work for us to make us more money. Remember that historically, gold rises in value as the currency falls. Invest in assets that are not governed by the government or the Federal Reserve Bank to increase our wealth. Act as they say, speak louder than words. Does it really matter if Warren Buffett purchased gold or gold mines for $560 million? What Warren Buffett sold to pay for the gold mine is what matters most. All of Warren Buffett's airline equities and a sizable portion of his banking stocks, such as those of JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, were liquidated. So the question we are asking everyone's favorite macro addict, this guy named George, what does that mean to the master investor community that Warren Buffett is dumping airline stocks and banking stocks to buy huge stakes in the Barrick Gold Company? What the Warren Buffett's actions indicated to us, it is more crucial to observe Warren Buffett's actions than what people are talking about them. Recall that Warren Buffett was the person who once said, in Africa or any other place, gold is extracted from the earth. After that, we melt it down, dig it, a new pit, bury it once more, and hire guards to stand to watch over. It serves no purpose. From Mars, anyone observing will be scratching their head. The fact that, end quote, the fact that the same men sold many equities to purchase gold is what makes this intriguing and worthy of discussion. Investors who see that it was a signal, but was it signaling? Was a wealth secret exposed right in front of our eyes? Right? Furthermore, the banks are unable to make up the shortfall since the Federal Reserve Bank is preventing them from raising interest rates. Wealth secret number one, dumping banks. We pay close attention to Warren's bank sales. This is presumably because Warren Buffett anticipated that despite rising inflation, the Federal Reserve Bank will prohibit interest rate increases. This is extremely harmful to banks since the money they receive back for their loans is paid back in dollars that are worth less. To put it simply, the dollar buys less as inflation rises, which means that the dollar's purchasing power has declined. Thus, the banks are in bad situation when they are paid back with these weaker and cheaper dollars. They receive a lower dollar in return for their strong dollar loan. Furthermore, the banks are unable to make up the shortfall since the Federal Reserve Bank is preventing them from raising interest rates. Warren Buffett thus sold his bank stocks holdings, which are vulnerable to inflation, and bought gold mining equities, which appreciate in value over time. We must be aware that gold acts as an inflation hedge. In order to fully comprehend this, historically gold has increased in value when the dollar has declined. The worst part is this is not an issue with COVID-19. Since 2000, the US has accumulated $26 trillion in debt. Although not COVID-19 fresh, this is rather new. The United States accrued around $5 trillion in debt between 1976 and 2000. However, the US government has added to its debt by more than $20 trillion during the past 20 years. Imagine that our excess expenditure is the only cost of our debt. Debt is exactly that. And that is why we broke that agreement back in 1971, August 15, when President Nixon separated the gold standard from the US dollar. The reason why we did that, it was because President Nixon and his team of advisories, we understood that We are a country that imports more than exports, meaning that we are consumers. We buy things from other countries, and if the dollar is attached to the gold and we're buying things from other countries, and we're buying things from China, right? Everything is very much from China. Not everything, but a lot of the things that are here in the United States are purchased from China. A lot of things that are on Amazon comes from China. And imagine, so we will have given all of our gold to China and other countries that are enemies. So that's why we have to separate the gold from the US dollar, because we could not afford to give our gold, the real money, to other countries, right? Because gold is limited, I suppose, and it's real money. So what does that mean for us, for our community here at Master Investor? That's great news, because you and I can get wealthier faster than ever before with the government's money, with debt, tax-free, because the government not only incentivizes wealthy entrepreneurs and master investors who are doing exactly what the law is saying: provide housing for other people, invest in technology, invest in gold, invest in things that will help the economy growth. And then we get tax breaks, as they call it. I say tax advantages. We're doing exactly what the law wants us to do, and therefore we get rewarded. So can anybody have access to these advantages? Yes, exactly. Anybody can have, regardless of who we are. It doesn't matter our background, where we come from, none of that. The new rules of money are available for everybody to become wealthy. But we need to understand how to utilize debt to become wealthy, because today the economy runs on debt. So if you're afraid of debt and you say, no, get out of debt, then you're never going to become wealthy. You're going to be working for money, and you need to learn how to use your money to raise capital, to raise debt, to invest in sound assets, to acquire assets that you control, that your companies control 100%. Debt is transferring consumption from the future to the here and now. Stated differently, our nation has been overindulgent in consumerism for several decades. I just said that, right? And it's important to understand that, but we use it to advantage. We don't criticize it. I love our system because it's easier to become wealthy today than ever before. We live in the best system ever, the capitalist system. The only way to reach an equilibrium position eventually is to either underconsume by the same amount or more than we overconsume. How can an administration escape the predicament? Although it is unlikely they could tighten their belts and drastically reduce their expenditures, that's not going to happen. If a politician tries it, they will not be able to remain in office. People will eject them for society. Therefore, the government must inflate the debt away if expenditure isn't lower. In essence, they will use less expensive money to repay the obligation. However, there's more justification for selling bank stocks. An increasing number of people will find themselves unable to repay their bank loans as the economy collapses. We are going to leave the bank holding the bag. And then the bank has a group that's called the Green Group. Nobody knows who they are, but they come and bail out the banks when they are in trouble. So the problem with the banks is that a lot of times, because the banks are in the business of lending money, but if the people that are paying the loans back who acquired those loans from them, they're not savvy investors, and that's what happened in 2008. The banks were giving loans to financially uneducated people. So it's not money that makes an individual wealthy, because a lot of people had money back in 2008 by withdrawing money from their housing, and they thought they were rich. They thought they were rich because their house went up in value, and they used their house as an ATM, and they didn't invest that money correctly because, like I said, it's not money that makes money, it's financial education that makes money. So understanding the new rules of money, positioning yourself with the right systems, understanding the difference between sales and marketing, that's what we covered yesterday. All of these things matter when it comes to building our wealth, and we want to protect our freedom, time, right? And we want to build our networks and nurture our minds. Our time and our mind are the most precious asset we all have, because those two things we can't replace. Wealth secret number 2, don't pay airlines Buffett sold off his airline stocks because he was afraid that the government will take excessive control. The amount of passengers that may be carried on a flight was being severely restricted by the government because of COVID-19 limitations. When Buffett noticed that fewer than 25% of flights were filled, the pressure on airlines to turn a profit on their already slim margins increased. Per flight, they don't make much money. Out of hundreds of seats, just 3 or 4 yield a profit. Airlines need volume flights if they are going to make any money. Airlines are facing a serious issue as a result of an increase in the number of the flights that are 75% empty. Therefore, it is possible that Buffett realized the long-term issues as governments grew more powerful and inclined to maintain lockdowns. The secret to the government's wealth: print more currency. The government will be forced to raise the national debt because it has no other option given the state of the economy and the agony the banks are experiencing. It also lacks a legal means of repaying the debt. There are fewer taxpayers when there are fewer working people. There is a terrible issue when there are fewer taxpayers and more debt. The only apparent solution available to the government is to print more money. Massive inflation results from this solution of printing money out of thin air. The government's solution causes hyperinflation, which in turn causes a complete collapse of the currency, rendering the dollar worthless. However, it's important that we use this hyperinflation to our advantage, even if it renders the dollar worthless, because we understand that every currency in the history of the world has gone back to its intrinsic value, which is zero, right? The continental used to be a currency and it went back to zero. And it used to be a saying, it's not even worth a continental because it was printed so much. However, we have to use everything to our advantage. So it's okay. Use hyperinflation to borrow money, cheaper money, to buy assets that are valuable, right? And there are 5 different asset classes that exist. Number 1, real estate. Number 2, business. Number 3, crypto. Number 4, paper assets. Number 5, commodities. They all require financial education. Here at Master Investor, we provide products and solutions around those asset columns. Asset classes. Right now there are 5. Actually, there is just one good answer. The response is that we must produce. Manufacturing is necessary. War on extreme inflation are the options. And out of those 3 alternatives, the government will select inflation if past performance is any guide. Well, secret. What is feasible for the common person? Let us re-examine the past. Using the early 1970s as an example, we can observe a shift away from financial assets and towards tangible assets such as gold and silver. Consider the 1972 and 1974 stock market crash. Next, consider the massive commodity boom of the 1970s. Buffett is probably thinking back on the things he learned in those days. Although there are no guarantees when it comes to gold and silver, the transition from equities and financial assets to gold and silver seems to be most likely course of events if we study the trends and look at the portability. Let's expand that list to include Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, but when everything is taken into account, such as the quantity of debt held by the government, the deficit, and spending on stimulus packages, infrastructure projects, and other items currently in the news, well, secrets from astute investors include purchasing assets that are not under Federal Reserve banks or the government's jurisdiction or control. What is meant by that? There is always more than one aspect to something in life. Buffett's 96-year-old colleague Charlie Munger states, "I wouldn't hang out with a bunch of gold bugs." The 90-year-old Buffett also declared that gold has no utility. Naturally, both have now gained $560 million in gold. Furthermore, veteran financier Paul Tudor Jones recently declared his support for Bitcoin. The thing is, even the elderly are having second thoughts. Observe their behavior rather than paying attention to what they say. In addition to purchasing gold, they are also making investments in gold mining. Why then is that different? Because gold miners benefit greatly from increase in gold prices. Let's take an example where the price of gold increased by 100% to 4,000. In such case, the gold miners will probably see a 400% increase rather than a 100% one. Gold miners have greater negotiating power. Words are not as powerful as actions. As we previously noted, COVID-19 caused a great deal of dissatisfaction in the aviation sector. The instability and volatility in the developed world are good news for gold, despite the fact that this may appear paradoxical. This also applies to hyperinflation when gold likewise exhibits exceptional performance. This is what happens when we start to lose faith in the US dollars and the economy as a whole. Owning tangible assets is once more the answer. Think about commodities. They offer incredibly fantastic value and are greatly underappreciated. Remember, also commodities like agricultural, oil, copper, and uranium, additionally gold and silver, should not be disregarded because they have maintained their value for more than 5,000 years. The fact that so many people are adopting Bitcoin globally, even in China and Venezuela, where people have lost faith in their financial systems, makes it really interesting. The amazing thing about Bitcoin is that there is a limited supply of 21 million units, and some people predict that this quantity will decrease over time due to frequent losses. This is fantastic since an asset with a fixed quantity cannot experience inflation. Right, because crypto, if you forget your wallet's ID, nobody can recover that for you. And a lot of people have lost their crypto. So that's another thing that makes it more valuable. Being alive right now is the most exciting time ever. Everywhere we return, wealth transfers are taking place. Cryptocurrency, commodities, stocks, and more. In the past, wealth was transferred from the lower and middle classes to the upper classes. But if we are brave and intelligent, we may be the beneficiary of this transfer in this digital age. Recall that we should pay more attention to the prominent players' deeds than their words. Start investing in high quality financial education today. Let me know what you think of this amazing talk. Write down your questions below. And remember, it's all about understanding how to create wealth with the new rules of money. Click the link in the description. Join our community here at Master Investor. Thank you for listening to another amazing podcast, bringing you the good and bad news of money, the business principles at work in all economies. I'll talk to you next time. Stay extraordinary and wealthy. Bye for now.